Attorney Joe Hobika is in the chair for the Republican Party in the city of Utica. We're just talking about this issue of the mayor and maybe trying to get rid of Chief Brooks. What do you have any insight? And I know we're surmising, but if let's say the chief said, "All right, release those documents from the doctor, from your doctor," what could possibly be in there? We were trying to kind of come up with what could be there. And don't give me that look. They look like, what an idiot. What kind of idiot would ask a question like that of me?
No, it's not that. It's just like, like, okay, I just want to say, what's it to, and what is the purpose of releasing the documents to the community?
The purpose is, there's one purpose. It's so that the community is going to say, "Oh, wait a minute, Mayor Palmieri, you're absolutely right."
Well, let me guess. Let me guess.
Okay.
I think that I would assume, not having read any of the documents, that Chief Brooks's doctor took the position that whatever condition he has was related to, whatever.
Correct. The World Trade Center Health Organization confirmed it. Yes.
Let me think. If the city went and got a physician to evaluate Chief Brooks, what do you think that report contains?
Here's the question. This is why we've tried to do our own surmising. A, the report says you didn't get it from the World Trade Center.
Right.
B, the report says you have cancer and you because of that, you cannot perform your duties as fire chief. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to get rid of you. That's why we've told you to step down. But now here's where I'm going with this. I did have a purpose when I asked you the question.
Okay, go ahead.
So here's my purpose. Do you see? So I don't know what else it could be, right? Unless he fudged it all. Unless the chief has fudged everything and made maybe that's
Chief
an accusation.
Brooks?
I understand that's never going to happen. But what? If those two things are possibilities, do you think that would sway public opinion? Would everybody walk away and say, "Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Palmieri, you're right"?
Public opinion, from a political standpoint.
Apparently it does matter to the mayor
From
right
a political standpoint, public opinion matters. From a legal standpoint,
it doesn't.
Public opinion doesn't matter.
But then why is the mayor coming out and asking for these for the chief to give permission for public opinion? That's the only reason.
He's being assailed from any number of fronts, and I think that he's trying to get some cover or support, because maybe, just maybe, his position from a legal standpoint might be appropriate.
Okay,
but
the way it was handled.
My thought is you do the job the way you're supposed to do the job, and you don't worry about
public
the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you're looking to seek to extend your term in the face of the charter that had, I think it was 80-20 to put those 80%, 20% of the constituents of the city of Utica voted to have those term limits. Mm-hmm. And frankly, if you can't get it done in the 8 years that you've had it, oh well.
Right.
Okay? Same thing on the council. So, this, unfortunately, from a timing standpoint, probably not the best politically.
Yeah.
But that, again, it's hard to know.
Well, you would say, though, that the person that's playing politics right now, the mayor is just as guilty if anybody else is, because he's in the paper talking about, I'm going to give my medical records up for my concussion when I was ridiculous. That back and forth. The other thing is, the only reason you would be releasing the chief. The only benefit to the chief releasing his medical records would be for public opinion. It wouldn't change the legal argument at all for the city.
And I agree. And you know what? And that's enough talking about that. Let's talk about the Conley trial.
Wait, one more thing.
Whoa. Since we are not in the courtroom, and by the way, there are judges out there that actually dictate what happens in the courtroom, not you, counselor. I'm
you're
the
right
judge
about
today.
that, Bill.
I'm the judge today.
And I don't know if this changes perception. I'm just asking the question from a legal standpoint. Chief said the city wasn't on the hook for a dime. Wouldn't have cost a thing. All my medical bills are covered. From a legal standpoint, if you're covered, you don't need it. Why do you file a claim?
I didn't read his claim, so I don't know what the specifics are. So it's hard for me to comment on that. I am sure that it's probably a little bit more sophisticated of an issue than, perhaps it's being viewed in terms of or portrayed. But, again, I just think it's a situation where, if the mayor feels that he's on, firm legal footing to take the position that he's taking, but for the fact that he's attempting to get 4 more years, it wouldn't matter, right? Because he's riding out his term.
Right.
So he's supposed to be doing what's correct. But it's sometimes what's correct isn't necessarily popular, but when you are taking a position and you're attempting to extend your term, then you have to worry about the political and the populist pushback on it.
Pass this down to Joe. This is the letter we were given by Chief Brooks. That is from the World Trade Center Health Organization, certifying, and on the dates that it happened, that he developed cancer after 9/11, and it's related to 9/11. How do you argue that document?
Joe Hobika read the letter.
While he's reading this, can I throw something else out there? Yeah. Please don't try to, anyone listening, think that I'm pro or con the chief. I'm just asking a question. The mayor could the mayor be protecting the taxpayers against a claim that he does not think is appropriate for the city to have to cover?
Well, that's what he's saying. That's
my
what he's saying he's doing.
And again, I don't know enough about the fund that was created for the 9/11 thing. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a reimbursement thing. I don't know if it's a 50-50 thing, a percentage
According
thing.
to the chief, it would not cost the city any money.
So I'm not quite sure what the purpose of the whole exercise is.
I agree, too. That confuses me.
And again, I didn't want to have to delve in to the legal intricacies of it. I could and probably evaluate it and come up with an opinion, but I'm not asked to do that. So
all right,
there's
counselor.
A charge for that.
All right, counselor.
Right.
Step down.
I get paid for that. But
step away from the bench.
I want to talk about the Conley case.
Okay. You got your coffee?
I know you did.
Yeah, apparently, something was in the coffee.
Listen, I want to talk about the Conley case from a legal perspective.
Talk about it. Here's my question. We're hearing. No one really knows what the jury, what the numbers were. But we're hearing things like 8-4. Okay.
It was 8-4 acquittal.
Okay. I heard 8-4 too.
Yes, but I just want to comment on that. 8-3.
9-3. I heard 9-3.
9-3. 8-4.
I heard one was a holdout and was going nowhere. The other 2 or 3 could possibly have been swayed.
I had heard the same thing.
Interesting.
But the thing about it is that it was a very complex case.
Yes.
From the prosecution standpoint. Okay.
Yeah, also
they had a lot of moving parts. They had computer stuff. They had all kinds of really complex legal issues. And even though they did not get a conviction, they did a tremendous job putting the proof they had in.
I agree.
The defense by Chris Pelly, and so I think it was Lori Lisi and Stacy Scotty were the prosecutors. That case was like you saw it on court TV, and
I agree.
They did a tremendous job. Chris Pelly defended it. He did a tremendous job. 8-4. I have no idea what, or 9-3. I have no idea what they're going to do. See, there's
the question today. The OD today. They said they're going to go and retry it.
Joe, how do they retry her and because in the court of public opinion,
it doesn't matter. Listen, I hate
back
to say
the court
this
of public opinion
again. The public's opinion.
Yeah, but how won't that be difficult to find jurors? Then will they have to move it out of the county?
They might have.
How in Oneida County do they find 12 jurors that aren't swayed by court of public opinion?
Do you know anybody that doesn't read the paper?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody that really doesn't watch news or listen to the news on
WIBX.
Right.
Say it.
I don't know of any Joe. I don't know of anyone.
No, my point is that there's going to be people out there that. And
there's also
there's gonna be other
people too
that will say, "Listen, I'm aware of but I feel that I
can be fair."
Right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, but that's in every case, Andrew, and especially in 2017 when there's such coverage on everything. It's hard
They'll go
find
back
someone
and evaluate what went wrong and what
I guess my question is this: at 8-12, at 8-4 or 9-3. Is there possibly, although I was reading up and that almost in all cases, in a situation of a hung jury, almost always they will retry.
Right.
So, but when the jurors came back at 8-4 or 9-3, wouldn't you worry that that's a message that could be duplicated, possibly?
I know, but you might say now I'm going to modify my approach.
I understand. Yeah. Which is, I'm assuming they would.
Yeah. So.
It's almost like you get a run on it and say, "Boy, we won't use that witness again."
They're getting a do-over.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be. This is where the issue that runs in. From a defense standpoint, now you're going to have to pay to have the whole thing retried.
It's expensive.
It's going to be expensive, and from the prosecution standpoint,
is it possible that things came out of this trial that might have been somewhat unexpected that could lead to further investigation, could lead to further information for the next trial?
That's possible as well.
Not identifying a motive, at least not to my knowledge. I was not in court.
She did identify at the end. It was
what was it?
The motive at the end. This was during her closing arguments. The motive was that she committed this murder in order to bring her obsession, the young man, back into her life, that was going to lure her back in through bereavement and et cetera, et cetera.
I'm not sure that
that's I'm just
the
giving
water.
you that's the motive. That's the only motive.
I think when you're talking motive, and again, when you're talking motive, there's a lot of other more juicier motives that
Sure.
Hopefully my ex-boyfriend will get back together with me.
I got to tell you, I thought it was the smoking gun for the defense was after being told that the sister-in-law of the victim and the husband of the victim did not start a relationship until after the death, 2 months afterwards. The smoking gun there was Pally's witness that said, "Oh no, I saw him months before in an embrace out in such and such a location. They were in a romantic embrace." That to me was big.
Mm-hmm.
And I also
agree,
said
but that can be misinterpreted.
It could be, but
I agree.
Could, but
someone saying that was
so
big.
this whole case really was about interpretation.
It was, right? But what I found interesting, and I'd love your comment on this, Joe. I had wondered, isn't it possible that had the prosecution decided that Conley was not guilty, and that the husband was, don't you feel the same case could have been potentially presented? And we'd all be going forth just like, oh, yeah, I think that's the guy that might have done it.
Well, I think that's probably
it's
part of it.
Circumstantial on both sides.
Without sitting here, I didn't sit here and study all of the evidence that came in. But, the reality is that it just seemed from, like who done it, like a who done. When you watch TV, they always who's the first suspect, right? Right. So,
well, and interestingly, in this case, you could easily say, well, Conley, the defense said she was devastated over the death of her employer, and that she was incredibly upset, and that maybe she had suspicions of maybe the son and the father, and that's why she sent the letter anonymously. You could present it in a way that makes her look not guilty,
right?
Just like the defense did.
It's a tough, tight
It's a tough case.
But like I said, I think, just not tooting the profession's horn, but both sides did a tremendous job in presenting presenting and defending.
I have one final question, and that is, you say public opinion doesn't matter. Is it possible that pride can?
I don't think
you want to dip your toe into that one.
I don't think that somebody would expend I don't think that someone would try somebody for this type of case just for the purpose of pride. There's too many moving parts.
Right.
There's too much commitment, and frankly, you know, and you've interviewed him 100 times. I would never expect our district attorney to do that.
Just for the record,
I agree.
I'm just asking the question.
I understand,
for
but
the
no.
record, I would have
No.
been yelled at for asking that question.
Yes, you would have.
Yes, and I
By me.
feel I wasn't talking about you, but I feel that it's just
It's a legal. It's a very close. It's a very
I have
close.
to ask that
no,
question.
I don't disagree with you that you have to ask it
for the people's benefit to have that question.
Yeah,
answered.
I mean, you're not. Listen, we're not going to shoot the messenger. The reality is that this is a very, very tough, tight case. It could have gone in any direction.
Yeah.
So the question is, the reason why they give you time between the time the jury reports and then when you're going to appear in court is that you're going to sit there and have an analysis of what's going on. Is it possible that you can succeed?
Can I do one comment on the whole thing? No one's talking about this. I give incredible credit to the jury because they believed clearly. Both sides believed what they believed, and they weren't allowing themselves to be swayed because they needed to get home. And I think that's incredibly impressive, and those people should be applauded for
those people did their civic duty.
Yes, they did.
They sat there and committed all the way, and I have to tell you, to sit there and put your life on hold, your work life on hold, your home life on hold, and then come in and sit there and watch a drama unfold.
Yeah. And they didn't know what Judge Dwyer was going to do.
Enormous.
He could have said, "You're spending the weekend." I mean, we're
enormously
gonna try.
high stakes.
Yeah.
It was a murder trial. They are to be commended for their efforts.
Got a break. We'll come right back here. Interesting conversation, though. I'm glad you allowed us to go down that road and dictated it. That's what we were going to talk about. Thank you.
No, Bill, you're the judge here.